So it looks like DJI have got a freestyle quadcopter drone coming out. And when I think about that, it sends my mind into overdrive because I think about what happened when they released the HD digital FPV system. It completely changed the game. It brought something to our little niche of the hobby that none of us thought was even possible. And not only that, they pretty much nailed it. There was a little bit of a transition from analog to digital, and of course, it didn't completely kill off analog for the reasons that everybody argues that it hasn't killed off analog. I personally also still fly analog. But it did get me thinking, what could they potentially do with a drone themselves? Because DJI have been around for a long time from the Phantom 1, and they were using other components as well. You know, you could buy DJI components for your quadcopter that you was building yourself, for example, the DJI Flame Wheel, and then other quadcopters as well. I had a friend who personally bought the Lightbridge system for his big hexacopter, and they were very much a component company. Then they started coming out with their own quadcopters with GoPro and also gimbals, the Zemuse gimbal. I think some of you will remember. And then they just went with their own camera system, their own gimbal, and took over the market. So when it comes to a freestyle or racing FPV drone, my head can't help think, what are they going to do with this? And I instantly think something like, well, they didn't kill off analog, but there were a lot of people who did just say, oh, analog is completely dead when they switched to the digital FPV system. I'm not one of those people. I still think analog has a place, and it's needed for tiny whoops and smaller models, and even the Bifrost system as well, I think is going to be useful for some of the people that already have some of the expensive HDO goggles. But when I think about what they could bring to a freestyle drone, the possibilities are endless. So I think they could even perhaps take out Betaflight and all of these other ones completely, which I would probably have some trouble with, but wouldn't be surprised. I mean, think about it. DJI have always made their own flight controllers, you know, with the NASA flight controller, and then what they know about the Mavic and all of the camera drones that they have brought out. It always felt like it was just a small change to go to an acro quad. So they probably already have that infrastructure in place with flight controllers, and I imagine it will be easy for them, who have managed to completely change this hobby, to add acro on there. So when I think what DJI could bring to a freestyle drone is probably just a panic button that instantly switches on GPS and maybe even object avoidance, but then also the acro that we love. But the one thing that DJI does the best is flight time. You look at a Mavic, it can fly for 30 minutes. And imagine if DJI came along with this FPV drone, including their digital system, and yeah, maybe it costs £1,500 like, you know, some of the camera drones that they have. But what if it did everything? What if it flew for 30 minutes? What if it had GPS, return to home, did all the things that a Mavic does, but we can also have extreme acro? And what if the props just press on and twist and become a standard as well? All of this wouldn't surprise me, and it's kind of the thing that some of the hobbyists don't like when it comes to DJI, because they are such a monopoly, but at the same time they are innovators, they are game changers, and when they see a gap in the market, they go for it. And to be fair, I mean, we are so lucky with Betaflight and all of the things that people have done in the hobby, but there is a gap there for a company like DJI to come along with that experience and go, oh, hang on, We can make these freestyle models fly for 30 minutes, no problem. You can give them throttle, you can stick a GoPro on there, but also, you know, if you aren't that experienced, we can flick a switch and the thing will just fly itself like a Mavic, or we can flick a switch and you can go and fly like your favorite freestyler. I think that is possible. Maybe I'm just thinking too much. Maybe DJI have just come along and worked with Betaflight. That would be something I think that people would be more comfortable with. But considering the fact that some people would acknowledge that they have wiped out Analogue, not my opinion, but it's some people's opinion, why couldn't they come along with a flight controller and a flight system that could make Betaflight, KISS, and Flight 1 all obsolete? And we have the same problem again, wouldn't we? We'd have the dedicated hardcore flyers that would be Betaflight to the end, and then we would just have DJI people who would go on board and go, ah, superb, you plug it in, it sets itself up, it flies perfect, flies for 30 minutes, you got return to home, can even do a mission planner if you want, you know, and have the ultimate quadcopter drone, dare I say it. Maybe that's not going to happen, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if DJI pulled that off. And I'm seeing pictures of people testing it. Doesn't look like there's going to be a V2 coming out along the way, which doesn't surprise me because DJI have been known in the past to release a Mavic and they know that they've got something incredible. So they will bring out a different version, give it a slightly different name, paint it white, and that's a new product to them. And I think with this DJI Digital HD system, I can see them doing that. There's a picture of somebody testing out this new DJI Freestle Drone, and they have got the same goggles that we're all using now. So my prediction would be that DJI would be silly to bring out a new goggle in the next year. I mean, they always surprise us. I mean, look at the Mavic Mini, for example. You know, we've got the Mavic Mini 2 already, but looking at the timelines between that and the FPV stuff, I don't think we're going to see a V2 anytime soon. I mean, I've always said that this current DJI HD FPV system is not a V2. It's a V5 because DJI has always done digital HD FPV. The problem was latency, and now they have sorted that. So I can't see why DJI wouldn't milk it to death with this system, and all indications show that that's what they're going to do, and the next thing is going to be an FPV freestyle drone. Now, I'm not confirming that they're going to obliterate Betaflight. This is all just speculation, but going from what they have done in the past, I would not be surprised at all if that is something that they could do, and I wouldn't want it to divide the community, but at the same time, there are a lot of people out there that are really fed up when it comes to, you know, building, buying, setting up a drone. Nobody really knows how to do the PIDs. We've got loads of videos out there, of course, but what if DJI came along with the perfect package for 1,500 quid and just went, there you go, that's everything, it's all perfect, and it does things better than you could build yourself, and maybe cheaper than you could build yourself. And I just think that because they have done that with this FPV digital system. Let me know what you think, whether you will be angry or sad if they did this. I think for me, you know, I think I'd be okay with it because it means that we have become mainstream. You know, DJI is a company that likes to make money, and if they came along with a system that could just make it so easy for somebody, then that would be great. But then we'd have all the problems of the people that just buy it and just stick it in GPS mode, just like a Mavic, and cause a load of trouble. So I wouldn't like that. My personal opinion would be that it'd be great if they came out with an FPV drone with props that can just twist on. I hate having to replace props, and I hate having to come up with a different tune each time as well and go into all of the settings. it would be great if it just worked out the box. Now, some people get close to that. Emacs get close to that. GapRC get close to that. But I think if anyone could come to a perfect drone setup out of the box, then it would be DJI, because that's what I said about the digital FPV thing. Now, you could go look back at my videos, but somewhere along the line, before digital HD FPV existed, I said if anyone's going to do it, DJI are going to be the people, because I followed along the Light Bridge and the OcuSync, and it was only ever going to get to a point where we got this low latency digital FPV system, and I would not be surprised at all to see that along the lines in Mavics, or at least consumer drones at some point that need that ultra low latency. But maybe we'll just end up with a rubbish, half-arsed freestyle quadcopter that's got Betaflight on there, which is fine because we all know Betaflight, and it has no GPS. But personally, I'd love to see what they are able to do. And then we would just all be playing catch up to DJI, just like now, just like with the Bifrost, you know. I like the Bifrost system. I've got a pair of HDO goggles. So if we get them in the UK, the price is very attractive to me, just to see what it's like. But, you know, on reflection of looking at everybody's reviews, it does just seem like a DJI system with the Cadex Nebula, so like a FPV camera with digital, which is what the Nebula camera is, and it's just not quite as good as the DJI camera in my opinion, but I definitely see the appeal to it. I'm interested in it. I want one. They didn't send me one. Fat Shark have never sent me anything. I've always bought it myself. So this year has been a real struggle for me financially, so buying the Bifrost system probably not an option. I'd love to check it out. So Fat Shark, if you're listening, you're probably not. You could send one my way if you like. I understand why not. It's easy to compare it against the DJI system. I think the DJI system will win. One thing I think they have misunderstood with the Bifrost system is that we thought that we wanted digital and a breakup system that was similar to analog, but I think the breakup that the SharkBite system, Bifrost, I keep getting it wrong, gives us is so similar to analog that it's like, well, why not just have analog, you know? The quality isn't as good as DJI, and I actually really like the way that the DJI system doesn't actually break up. Instead, you get the things down the side in focus mode, or if you use high quality mode like I do, which I love, then the whole picture degrades and you can get an indication of when you're going to run out of signal. So I think what Fat Shark didn't realize is that that would be better than actual breakup, because to me it is. So if you just get like a slight decrease in the quality and pixelization, that to me is better than a load of breakup, because you can still use it in an HD capacity like I've been doing on the channel. Anyways, I got a bit off topic there, didn't I? But let me know what you would think if all of that happened, if DJI came along with a freestyle FPV drone that was 1,500 quid for your transmitter, for your goggles and your video system. It had redundancy, so the return to home functions that you get with a Mavic, it's simplifying the whole Betaflight thing that can be sometimes a nightmare for people. Would that be a good thing, a bad thing? Would it make Betaflight obsolete? I don't think so. But either way, I'm interested to see what happens. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. If you want to support this channel, then there are affiliate links in the video description, as well as a pinned comment. This year has been really difficult financially. I'm going to be doing my ultra build series, where I just take everything that I have learnt over the years, and I'm going to go from start to finish and explain everything as much as I can. Because you know what, there are these companies, right, here we go, I was going to end the video here, but there are these companies that are selling courses about FPV. I'm not going to name them, but I was really annoyed about that because I've been doing this since 2012, 2013, and as I gathered knowledge along the way, I was like, I gotta share this, because we need more people in the hobby. And I think, influencers, YouTubers, forums, whatever, I do think to some extent we got the information out there, and that created a demand for people to buy and learn this stuff. So for somebody to come and take that information that they can gather off me, Joshua Bardwell, UAV Futures, Painless 360, and go, you have to pay a little bit of money and we'll give you all of that. I'm like, do you know what? No, I can do better than that, because I'm a part of creating all of this. And if you are going to take the things that we've learned and make a profit from them, I'm going to put them out for free. And you know what? I'm going to do it better than you as well, because I've been doing this for 30 years, and sometimes you can't put a price on that. Right, I've waffled on for ages, but thank you for watching, and I hope you found this video useful. And if you want to support me, affiliate links in the below. It's going to help so much, and also Patreon as well, because I'm really struggling, but I really want to carry on doing this. And thank you, so cheers.